Today we're going to be working with Rob, and Rob has a congenital condition called congenital torticollis, which creates a lot of stiffness in the neck, especially on the left side, the sternocleidomastoid, and very tight postural muscles. So he's always having to stretch. There's always a lot of stiffness, a lot of pain. So we're going to be working on those areas. We're going to be focusing on the left SCM. I'm going to incorporate myofascial release and some trigger point therapy, and I'm going to be asking him throughout how the pressure is, if it's too much. I always want feedback because I don't want to go against. I always want to move and work with the body. If he guards, if he resists, it's just going to be uncomfortable, it's counterproductive, and it makes my job a lot harder. So, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. So, first I just want to start by just feeling the area. This is the occipital region. You get a lot of tension here. So I'm just feeling around and seeing where that tension is today. And it's on the left as usual. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to start with a little bit of myofascial release. You don't want to use a lot of lotion or a lot of oil because then it's going to be too much glide and I won't have the same amount of control over the area. So we're just going to start with a slight rocking. Just send those signals of relaxation to the brain. So we always want to soothe and relax the nervous system. It makes the body a lot more receptive to touch and to healing. So we're going to start this area right here. And I'm just going to be doing some stretching of the trap, the scalenes. So I'm going to be moving very, very slow. So with the myofascial release, there's always quite a bit of stretching and slow movement, slow, deliberate strokes. So what I can do is anchor down the shoulder and then move up towards the base of the skull. Very slow. All the way up to the ear. I'm going to do one more time. You did okay?
Excellent.
All right. Okay, so now we're going to check our culprit, our sternocleidomastoid. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you turn your head, and I'm going to lift your head up. Lift your head up a little bit, and there is a sternocleidomastoid. Okay, so that's what we're going to be working on. Okay, now you can relax. And I just want to get a feel. And there's always a lot of tightness in this area. This is where he's having the main problem. So it's just holding it and just letting the movement go across the grain of the muscle. All the way up to the origin. We always want to be very careful around this area because there's a lot of blood vessels. So we have to be gentle and know where we're going so we don't cause any damage, which we're not going to cause any damage, so don't worry. Okay, so now I'm going to use a little bit more lotion. can even go underneath the scapula, the upper back, because all of these muscles are engaged with the movement of the head, the rotation, the flexion. And when all of these muscles are tight, are there any restrictions, it affects our range of motion. So we always want to treat everything. So now I'm just going to go up here to the base of the skull, the occipital region. There's usually a lot of trigger points in this area that can radiate up to the head, even to the eye. So I'm just going to hold that for a few seconds. Do you feel any radiating pain?
No.
Okay, good. So now I'm going to start going down the length of the muscle. We have the scalenes, the vater scapula, all of these muscles that are in charge of rotating and bending the head forward. And we can do a little cross fiber friction. So we're going to go across the grain of the muscle. I'm doing that with my thumb all the way down. And we can do it all the way up again. And very slow, deliberate movements. You can turn the head a little bit and now actually start working on that sternocleidomastoid. He had a surgery here. He has a Z-plasty, so he has a lot of scar tissue here, and we always have to work on that. So we can use our thumb, we can use fingers, moving towards the sternum and the clavicle. We always want to be very careful and always check in with the patient. Is the pressure okay?
Yes.
We're always going to go back up to the occipital region. And we can even do circular movements. All the way down. We can do a little bit of petrissage on the traps. And whatever we do on one side, we'll always do on the other side, even if the other side isn't hurting or isn't affected. So now what I'm going to do is a little bit of traction. So I'm just going to have him take a nice deep breath. And exhale, pull. Gently pull the head towards me, and then just hold it for a moment, and then gently release. All the movements always have to be very fluid because it can be a shock to the muscles, a shock to the nervous system. So we're going to do one more traction. Nice deep breath. And exhale. Very good. Okay, one more thing I'd like to do is the PNF stretching, and that is assisted stretching. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn his head to the side to see how far he can stretch. And when I feel that he can't stretch anymore, I'm going to have him push, his head push against my hand. So I'm going to have you push, count of 5, and relax. And then I I can actually stretch him a little bit more. I'm going to do that 2 times on each side. So I'm going to have him push again and relax, and each time I'll be able to stretch more. So we're kind of tricking the muscle into stretching a little more. And we always want to end a massage with a little bit of Swedish, some very gentle movements to complete the treatment. So I always like to do a little bit of rocking again. And then we can always work on the pecs right here, which are also engaged in the neck movement. Okay. And that is basic neck treatment.